Jai Hind, dear students of class 12, Geography Optional. Today I am discussing the same chapter, chapter 5, primary activities. We have discussed that the agriculture is basically of two types. First type is known as subsistence, and second is called commercial. In subsistence agriculture, it is further divided into two: primitive subsistence agriculture and intensive subsistence agriculture. We have discussed. Today I am going to discuss plantation agriculture. Plantation agriculture. The topic I am going to start today is the plantation agriculture. Here you can see plantation agriculture. Now see, as the name plantation, it is easy to understand that once we are planting some of the tree crops which take time to grow, or the production we need to wait for a long time, 3 year, 4 year or 5 year. Then afterwards production is started, then continuously we are getting the production and we can earn money by selling them. So plantation agriculture actually बागीचा वाली कृषि बोलते हैं. Plantation agriculture is actually developed by Europeans in their colonies. In fact, in past they have found that yes, because in these regions of tropical Asia or Africa, climatic condition, geographical setting is quite good for growth of this plant. So accordingly, they have invested a lot of money in development of this type of agriculture known as plantation agriculture. As given earlier, plantation agriculture introduced by Europeans in colony. It is clear. The most important plantation crops are tea, coffee, cocoa, rubber, cotton, oil palm, sugar cane, banana. Sugar cane is also a plantation agriculture. Takes almost a year to grow. And after just sowing once, we can harvest crops regularly 2 or 3 years. Banana, pineapple, ananas. So many type of crops are grown, especially the tea and coffee, rubber and cocoa are most important among all these. As far as type, it is a commercial type of agriculture and it is agriculture which is developed based on scientific attitude. So in this agriculture, farmers are really rich persons. Some of the plantations are owned by industrialists. You can't think that a small farmer is having a big or big state where the tea garden is there. Nowadays, in Northeast India, small tea gardens by the farmers have developed, but they don't have enough money to settle factory. So they are producing only tea leaves and selling to the big tea gardens, which are having their own factory system for production of final product. So the major characteristics of this type of farming are, as these farms where these plantation crops are grown are usually very large, called estates. E S T A T E S, estates, not estates. These are called as estates. Tea estate, coffee estate, like that. As well as it requires huge capital investment. A lot of capital is required because it is grown over 100 and more than 100 of acres of land at a time. So huge capital investment is there. There is investment on machinery. There is investment on making factory to make final product. There should be a good managerial ability too, as all these farms are cared through managerial system. In this, there is a head of the states or tea state or coffee state, and under his or her, number of other supervisors are working, and under supervisors the laborers are working. So it requires a good managerial ability as well as technical support. Scientific methods are adopted for cultivation, and this is a plantation. This is the type of agriculture which is known for single crop specialization. A single crop is grown. Single crop. Suppose if tea is grown there, no other crop is grown with the states. If coffee, only coffee is there. If rubber plantation is there, only rubber crops can be grown. A single crop specialization is there. It requires cheap and skilled labor. Cheap and skilled labor, you can see, especially in India, the time of development of these tea states in northeast, in Darjeeling, coffee states in Nilgiri, Karnataka, Britishers have taken the number of people from Chhattisgarh, Bastar district, Odisha, parts of Bihar, etc., to work over these states in northeast India, in Karnataka, etc. So the workers working in these farms or these states, they are skilled in doing all such activities of needed for production, but there is a need for cheap and skilled labor. Labor should be available with cheap rate. So cheap and skilled labor is also required, as well as it requires a good transportation system, because after production of the things, the produces or the products need to be supplied to the market with efficient and within a genuine time. You can see that many of other characteristics are also there. The main one are large capital investment based on scientific basis or scientific methods for cultivation are applied. It requires a managerial ability, requires cheap and skilled labor, etc. The French, they have established cocoa and coffee plantation in West Africa first. British set up large tea gardens in India and Sri Lanka. In India, what the tea gardens we are having, we are one of the major tea producer in the world, but the tea plantation was developed by the Britishers, earlier owned by them. Today, almost all the tea gardens are owned by Indians, but mostly by the big industrialists like Birla, Tata, etc. This type of agriculture is not owned by simple farmers. Here, farming means investment of crores and more rupees. Investment is more, as well as area over which the farming is going on. It is so large, so they're normally called states. So India, mostly these are owned by industrialists. Britishers have developed rubber plantation in Malaysia. Do you know? Malaysia is the largest producer of natural rubber, not rubber, natural rubber. Sugarcane plantation in West Indies. Do you know for sugarcane plantation? People from India, we have discussed immigration. Can you recall? Through the Girmit Act, people from UP and Bihar, they have by force shifted to those regions of West Indies. Today, still you can see in cricket team, many Indians are playing. All they are settled there permanently. Earlier, they went there as गिरमिट लेबर, उनको कहा जाता था गिरमिटिया मजदूर. As through Girmit Act, they have taken to parts of Western etc. to work over the sugarcane plantation. Besides that, the Dutch once had monopoly over sugarcane plantation in Indonesia. डच लोगों ने सुगर केन प्लांटेशन डेवलप किया था इंडोनेशिया में. इसी तरह कॉफी स्टेट्स, बहुत बड़े बड़े कॉफी गार्डन डेवलप किए गए हैं ब्राजील में, स्टिल मैनेज बाय यूरोपियंस. आज तक यूरोपियन लोग उसको मैनेज करते हैं. एंड दीज लार्ज कॉफी गार्डन्स इन ब्राजील आर कॉल्ड एज fazendas. It is one more question for MCQ. Some coffee fazendas, large plantation. The large plantation of coffee means coffee fazendas. So the word utilized here, fazendas. So in Brazil are still maintained by the European people. But today, ownership of the majority of plantation had passed into the hands of government of national of the countries concerned. In India, as I have discussed, more or less all the plantation of tea, coffee, rubber, etc. all these are owned by big industrialists. Now here you can see a beautiful scene is here, tea plantation. You can see that what scientific method they have applied. They have grown the crop, they have grown the shrub that is called tea. In row you can see in between two row there is a pass through which the worker who are collecting tea leaves can move easily, as well as tea is a shadow living plant. छाया पसंद है, इसीलिए चाय बगान के या चाय के बगीचे के अंदर पेड़ लगाए जाते हैं ताकि जो टी है उसको छाया मिलता रहे. टी इज अ शैडो लविंग प्लांट. Frost is injurious to this plant, so it is not possible to grow in the areas where cold is too much. So you can see earlier in Assam, West Bengal, in Darjeeling district, and today in South India, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, parts of Uttarakhand now, and Himachal, tea is grown well. The most important state for the production of tea in India is the Assam state. So here given the slope of hills are used for plantation because the favorable geographical condition. Don't you think why? Why on slopy region tea gardens are developed? Why tea plants are grown on slope of the mountain or area having more slope? Very simple reason. Tea plants require huge quantity of water, high rainfall it requires, but it cannot survive in stagnant water. बारिश बहुत चाहिए, पूरे साल होती रहनी चाहिए, ग्रोथ अच्छा होता है, लेकिन टी प्लांट सर्वाइव नहीं कर पाता है स्टेगनेट रुके हुए पानी में. So mostly grown on hilly slopes. Sir, up on hilly slope after the rain, water is moving or draining out easily. So there is no stagnancy in water. So tea plants cannot survive in stagnant water. That is why mostly grown on hill slopes. Next is the extensive commercial grain cultivation. Now we are going to discuss about the type of farming where a single crop in a year is grown, especially wheat. We are talking about the temperate grasslands like steppes, prairies, pampas, downs, wilds of Africa, etc. So they are extensive commercial grain farming as the name. Extensive. It means farms are so large. बहुत बड़े बड़े खेत हैं. एक्सटेंसिव कॉमर्शियल ग्रेन फार्मिंग. और यहाँ जो ग्रेन फार्मिंग होती है स्पेशली व्हीट की, इसका मेन मोटिव क्या होता है? टू प्रोड्यूस क्रॉप एट लार्ज स्केल टू सेल इन द मार्केट टू अर्न मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट. So given commercial grain cultivation is practiced in interior of the semi-arid land or the mid-latitude, especially the mid-latitude grasslands, as I have quoted the name, mid-latitude grasslands or temperate grassland like pampas, prairies, steppes, downs, belts, etc. And here wheat is the principal crop. Principal crop means मुख्य फसल. मुख्य फसल क्या है? Wheat. It is not necessary that only wheat is grown. Somewhere corn, barley, oats are also grown. Corn, in American English, maize. Maize माने मक्का. इंडिया में मक्का बोलते हैं, उसको ब्रिटिश इंग्लिश में मेज बोलते हैं. And the same thing is there in American English called as corn, bhutta. Barley, oats are also grown in these areas. As I have quoted, the farms are so large in size. So large in size, therefore entire operation for cultivation starting from plowing to harvesting can be carried through the modern machines. So it is highly mechanized. If it is highly mechanized, requires huge capital investment too. Farmers are really rich and literate. They are doing agriculture on scientific basis. There is, the last line is important here, you can see that here it is, there is low yield per acre but high yield per person. Why? Question is asked. Why does this happen? In India, we know that in India we are having maximum utilization of minimum land. Land area is little for the farmers. Land farm holdings, land holdings are small. खेत की size क्या है? छोटी है. So we are doing maximum use of minimum land. Or there they are growing a single crop in a year. So they are having minimum use of maximum land. So given there is low yield per acre, prati unit area, prati acre production. If we are comparing with India, where the intensive cultivation is going on, it is low. But per person is very high. But yield, high yield per person means that per head production is very high. It is simple because their population is so less. If you are going sometime to look after the beauty of prairies, you will surprised to see lakhs of acres of land are green with wheat crop, and operations also has related to agriculture is going on through the machines, etc. Farmers have their own farmhouse. They are living there with their family members, as well as only they have also a shed to keep all these machines. They are having one, two, three assistant only do all such activity. So far, here given it is combined crews are capable of harvesting grain over many hectares in a single day. Not like in India. In India, suppose there is a weather forecast that within 48 hours there will be a chance for a great rainfall. In India, people are not able to harvest all the crops within a day. But in USA, if there is any chances of any hazards such as like hurricane, tornado, etc., or if excessive rain, there is any chance. So within a night, they can harvest their entire crop because they are having combined crews. You can see in this figure. In this figure, you can see how they are doing all these activities. Now, this is the area. In map, you can see this is the areas of extensive commercial grain farming. Here, said index is there. Extensive commercial grain farming. Now, see this is the North America prairies. South America, it is the region called Pampas in Argentina. Here it is well steppes, and in Australia it is called downs. So far, these are the regions known as temperate grasslands also, mid-latitude grasslands. So here now, wheat cropping is going on at a very large scale. Given this type of agriculture is best developed in Eurasian steppes, the Canadian and American prairies, the pampas of Argentina, the belts of South Africa, and the Australian downs. What are these? The name I have taken: steppes, prairies, pampas, velds, downs. All these are the temperate grasslands, mid-latitude grasslands. Here, wheat farming, the principal crop is wheat here, and they are growing it. And besides wheat, what are the other crops? Yes, corn, oats, barley, etc. Now I am going to discuss about the mixed farming. As the name you can understand, the farming, in this type of farming, raising of crops is there, as well as farmers are also rearing animals. So given this form of agriculture is found in highly developed part of the world, especially northwestern Europe. Northeastern Europe, almost all the countries are developed. Eastern North America, which is also developed and having lot of demand of dairy product, etc. Parts of Eurasia and temperate latitudes of southern continents. So in mixed farm, the size of land holding is not so small, not so large. Simply the moderate size land holdings are there, and usually the crops associated with are wheat, barley, oats, rye, maize, fodder, and root crops. Here you can see they are not growing only food crop, they are also growing fodder crop. Fodder means chara because they are rearing animals also. Crop rotation and intercropping play an important role in maintaining soil fertility. Farmers are well literate. They know the importance of crop rotation to regain the soil fertility naturally, as well as intercropping. एक स्ट्रीट में अलग फसल, दूसरे स्ट्रीट में अलग फसल, एक ही साथ कई फसलों को उगा लेना, इंटरक्रॉपिंग, ये सारी प्रैक्टिसेस मिलती हैं मिक्स्ड फार्मिंग में. As well as equal emphasis is laid on crop cultivation and animal husbandry. It doesn't mean that farmers are doing only agriculture for raising crops, but the animal they are rearing, they are giving equal importance to animal rearing also. Because of that, they are growing fodder crop. And the main animals which are reared over there are cattle, sheep, pigs, poultry. Pigs are reared over there, poultry, मुर्गी पालन. Provide the main income along with the crops. Crop बेचने के साथ साथ इन लोगों को cattle से दूध, जैसे milk and meat both, as well as sheep, wool, as well as meat. Pigs are there, they are grown there, well reared. for production of pork, because there is a very large scale demand of pork in the European market. Poultry required everywhere. So mixed farming is characterized by high capital in expenditure. So in this farming also, capital investment is very high on farm machinery and building, extensive use of chemical fertilizers, and also by skill and expertise of these farmers are important in this. Next is the dairy farming. As the name, simple. Dairy farming means rearing sheep. Sorry, dairy farming means rearing cattle, especially cow, for the production of milk. Dairy is the most advanced and efficient type of rearing of milk animals. Which animals are here? Milk. जिस जानवरों से हमें दूध मिलता है. It is highly capital intensive. इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा capital investment की जरूरत होती है. Animal sheds are required to construct to keep them. You can see in this figure, dairy farm in Australia. You can see in this figure, it is a farm in Australia known as dairy farm. So lot of capital is required. Animals need to be kept there inside the sheds. So there is need for construction of sheds, storage facilities for fodder, feeding and milking machines also add the cost of dairy farming. And all the feeding and milking work is done by machines, not by manual power. Only there are few people who are operating the machines. So it requires huge capital. A special emphasis is laid on cattle breeding, their healthcare and veterinary services. यहाँ जानवरों का बहुत विशेष ध्यान दिया जाता है उनकी ब्रीडिंग पे, ताकि अच्छे नस्ल के जानवर पाली जा सके, जिससे अधिक से अधिक दूध का उत्पादन हो, उनका हेल्थ केयर अच्छा हो. इसके लिए वेटरिनरी सर्विसेज मीन्स पशु चिकित्सा वगैरह की व्यवस्था बहुत अच्छी होती है. डेयरी फार्मिंग, यू कैन सी द एरियाज ऑफ मिक्स्ड फार्मिंग. नाउ सी, इट इज हाईली लेबर इंटेंसिव एज इन्वॉल्व्स rigorous care of feeding and milking. Rigorous means very attentive. Care of feeding and milking is important. There is no off season during year as in case of crop raising. अगर क्रॉप रेजिंग करते हैं फार्मर्स तो एक आध दो सीजन के लिए, एक एग्रीकल्चरल ईयर में अगर दो सीजन है तो एक सीजन बैठ भी सकते हैं, आराम कर सकते हैं, इसीलिए वहाँ ऑफ सीजन होता है. लेकिन डेयरी फार्मिंग में कोई ऑफ सीजन नहीं होता. इट इज प्रैक्टिस मेनली नियर अर्बन एंड इंडस्ट्रियल सेंटर्स. वाई डेयरी फार्मिंग इज प्रैक्टिस नियर urban and industrial centers? Simply because there is a huge demand of milk there in the urban centers and industrial centers. So, and side by side, it is also important that milk need to be processed and to be sold in the market as soon as possible, because it is a perishable item. After pasteurization, milk को तुरंत मार्केट में पहुंचना चाहिए बिकने के लिए, क्योंकि ये खराब भी होता है जल्दी. इसीलिए डेयरी फार्मिंग जनरली शहरों के पास, इंडस्ट्रियल सेंटर के पास, जहाँ पे लोगों की आबादी है और बहुत डिमांड है, वहीं पे लगाया जाता है. द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, रेफ्रिजरेशन, पास्चुराइजेशन एंड अदर प्रिजर्वेशन प्रोसेसेस हैव इंक्रीज्ड द ड्यूरेशन ऑफ storage of various dairy products. Nowadays, because of due to advancement of refrigeration system, after pasteurization, the milk is kept there inside these big refrigerators, and we can maintain its quality for a long time, for few days, as well as there are no machines. If there is excess production of milk, they can convert it to form of powder. If there is need, again they can mix the powder with water to produce milk. So lot of uses are there, as well as the modern technologies are utilized. Now see the main three regions of the commercial dairy farming. Largest is the northwestern Europe, I have said you earlier. Second is Canada, and third belt includes southeastern Australia, New Zealand, and Tasmania, etc. So in these regions, dairy farming is very common. Now see the map. Yes, see this map. Areas of dairy farming. Here you can see this region: northeastern America, northwestern Europe, entire. The third important region, this is the Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania, etc. This region. So in your board examination, from this map, suppose this region will be located, will come already located, and you have to identify a area of dairy farming. Clue will be given there in paper. So you have to identify Australia, New Zealand. What is the region? Generally it is asked of Australia. So these maps are there for identification. The world maps are there in first book. Map or later I will discuss in detail also, but with the contents I am discussing regularly all these map works. I hope you have enjoyed the class today. Next class we will continue the same chapter. Thank you and have a nice day.